President and CEO of BIO. And BIO is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. So beginning small, 25 years ago, and growing to the force that we are now in the country and the world, we've been helping the biotechnology industry and all of its entrepreneurs to be successful, and it's been quite a history. Now we're going to think about the next 25 years, what's going to happen in biotechnology in the next 25 years, and I have the perfect guy to ask that. John Maraganore is the chairman of our board at BIO. He's the CEO of Alnylam, and take out your crystal ball. What happens in the next 25 years?
Okay, I see it. Well, I mean, Jim, we are living in a period of time where the pace of biomedical discovery has never been faster. Okay. The cures, I mean, the fact that we're using the word cures, right, in some cases.
And I remember we were supposed to not use that word.
We would never use that word, right? Cures was a word that was only an aspiration, but we're actually seeing cures now. And there's technologies like gene editing and gene therapy and RNA-based medicines that we work on that are now coming forward and making transformative differences in patients' lives. I think that's only going to continue for the next 25 years. It's only going to get more interesting going forward. And having a policy environment that allows that innovation to come forward and thrive and make the patient impact that it can have is what's got to be front and center for BIO going forward.
Right, and this is the point I make with members of Congress and policymakers all of the time. We're in a race between the science, which is galloping, and bad policy, which is unfortunately also galloping. And if innovation doesn't win that race, then all of this promises for naught. Yeah. So part of what we are thinking about now is the voice of the patient. Everything has been about that for the last few years, and how do we make sure that the patient is deeply involved in the design of clinical trials, deciding what outcomes he or she want to have, and also making sure that FDA understands that and takes that into consideration when they're reviewing data and making approvals.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty amazing to think about this, but it's only been for the last 4 or 5 years that the patient voice has been welcomed in the drug development process. Right. I mean, crazy to think about that. But I think up until a lot of the work that we did at BIO around FDASIA and PDUFA 5 and getting the patient voice integrated within drug development, it was viewed as a stakeholder of interest, but not one voice that was meaningful. And we've changed that. We've changed that in a big way. It's been embraced by the agency, the FDA. It's being embraced by other global regulatory authorities. And the impact and the value of that input into the entirety of what we do as an industry is huge. So it's just great to see that happen now. And a lot of that comes down to what we've done at BIO over the last 20 or last 4 or 5 years.
It comes down to the personalized medicine. I mean, the fact that I may be a patient of a disease, you may have the same disease, but we may be looking for other different outcomes. And we want to make sure that all of those are taken into consideration.
You bet.
Here we are at the conference, and unfortunately there are not enough women. There are not enough minorities. This is still largely a man's game, and for that matter, a white man's game. We don't like that. We've been working very hard to change that. We want to welcome everyone into this fantastic industry. And talk a little bit about what we're doing at BIO on the diversity issue.
Well, one of the things I'm really pleased that we're doing at BIO is focusing. We built a committee now that's focusing on this issue, taking it head on. We can do a lot better as an industry. We have far too few women and far too people of diversity at senior levels of our companies, at the board level of our companies. The WDDI committee, as it's called, is really committed to changing that as an industry, to really bringing out the best of our diverse talent as an industry. And one of the reasons, Jim, we have to do this is, we're about finding medicines for patients of all races, all sexes, all orientations, whatever the case might be. And so for us not to have a diverse workforce just doesn't make sense in our industry. So we're committed to it, as you know, at BIO, and to make a big difference there. And we're going to look for some real tangible differences over the next 25 years.
Well, let's hope 25 years from now we're not having this conversation because we've gotten there. And that would be an accomplishment as much as anything else we've ever done. So thank you, John. I appreciate you spending the time with us today, and I appreciate your chairing the board, and thank you.